Hey everybody, welcome back to Conversations with Nick Hall, where we cover issues of culture, music, and just life. I got some special guests back in the house. You guys excited to be here? Yes, sir. Man, I'm going to start up top. I got my man Aba, new to the show. Give it up for Aba, everybody. Come on. Also new, we got Marcella in the house. Marcella, thank you for being here. Above Marcella, Owen is here. And we got Josh back by popular demand. Everybody's like, is Josh going to be there? Is he not going to be there? We don't know. I know some of you guys are saying, please don't bring Josh back, but he's here. We're excited you're here. We're excited you're here. Haters going to hate, Josh. It's just what it is. Over here, Dominique. Dominique holding it down. Next to Dominique, we got Miracle. And above, up top, just making sure that everybody is feeling the wisdom from above. We got David in the house. David, you doing good? All right, man, it's going to be a great episode. We're talking about purpose. Let's dive in together. So before we jump into this week's conversations, we wanted to think about the creativity of God, because that's part of the purpose we have. We got a special guest coming on, actually one of my favorite artists. And to get ready, we wanted to see what kind of art chops are in the studio. So we're gonna have a little drawing challenge here in the house. Dominique is gonna kick us off. We're gonna pick the word here, and we're gonna see if Team 1 can guess this word in 30 seconds.
Trinity.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Come on! The Trinity! All right, so Dominique had Holy Trinity, and this is what she just threw down here. I don't know about you guys, I think that was pretty impressive. Hit it in the comments. Josh, I think it's over before it began. I don't want to say I don't believe in you.
No, you're not wrong.
All right, so we got 1 point for Team 1. Now we're going over to Team 2. Josh, man, don't let us down. I'm just telling you. Everybody wins because this is a Christian game, but you might lose.
I might.
Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got. Okay. Oh, that's a tricky one.
All right.
That is a tricky one for all the folks at home. That's it's a very sophisticated piece of art that we have to figure out here. All right, ready, set, go. That was, listen, and the winner between the two teams is Josh. I mean, that was, that, I just don't know if that could have gone any faster. I was trying to figure out what you would do. I didn't see any rules that said you couldn't do that, so. All right, we're so excited to have a special guest with us. This is a friend here. She's actually the director of Conversations with Nick, and she's an art director at Pulse. Give it up for Katie Viesselman. Katie, listen.
Hey, guys.
Katie, I know you're an artist, and you have a passion for design and just how things come together. You're even directing this video while you're being interviewed. So I just want to ask you, what does it mean to you to make Jesus known?
Yeah. First of all, Nick, I think it's just caring for people. I think you can ask any of my coworkers. One of the things that is just such a priority in my life is making people feel known, just as, Christ loves us. And I think we can really complicate loving others. I think it just comes in simple words and simple actions, and just loving people really well in everyday life. It doesn't have to be some grand gesture or all these Bible verses, which is great also. But it just comes in the everyday love of loving each other.
Hey, that's amazing. Now, today we've been talking about purpose, and obviously we're driving toward the Cotton Bowl. Katie, you and your team, as well as others that have been pulled into this, we're trying to make Together 22 feel epic, feel beautiful. why does like the look and feel, the packaging, why does that matter when it comes to making Jesus known? How does that communicate the gospel?
Totally. Well, first of all, I'm just super passionate about arts and creative. Obviously, it's what I want my career to be. But the package that anything comes in is just as important as what's inside. I just really believe in the smallest designs make the biggest impact. Like I could tell you, I've made 1 million flyers, 1 million posters, and so many large scale designs. But what people notice are the smallest things. And yeah, that's what gets people here is the little social media graphics. The whole team just does an awesome job about making everything look super great and gets people to the Cotton Bowl.
I think that's so real about God, how he cares about the littlest thing, the hairs on our head, right? Those parts of our personality that we don't even like, that he loves and is excited about. Katie, what's something you would want to say to an aspiring creative, a designer, somebody's trying to land a job or trying to figure it out? How would you encourage them, to pursue this passion and calling?
Totally. I would say just very practically, a huge part of the creative world is just about connections. And who you're around, who you surround yourself with, because you can have the best mentors and believers that are encouraging you in your faith, but you also need creative mentors too. And that's a big reason why I was able to be very confident in my abilities and approach to things was I had very solid creative mentors that also encouraged me in my faith. But they knew all the things about Illustrator and print marks and bleeds and all the nitty gritty of the design world. And I was very fortunate. I actually had a lot of family background in the creative world. My aunt was the creative director of the LA Times. My uncle was, he just won a Grammy in Oslo, which is super awesome. But I really grew up and surrounded myself with both intentionally and just I happened to be in a environment where the creative world was just very encouraged. And especially as a career, a lot of creatives I've met and aspiring creatives are very worried about art as a career. There's lots of sayings about how artists don't make any money and there's no jobs, but there definitely are. And meeting the people that are in those jobs is super important to being successful in any creative role that you want to be in.
Yeah, so seek for ways to be poured into, to not go it alone. Katie, I just want to say, we love you at Pulse. We love you here on the set. Man, don't we just love Katie? Come on. Yeah. Katie, you inspire us. You're always challenging my fashion game and helping me think more creatively. So, man, just so thankful to have you on. And so excited to see all the things that you guys are dreaming up for what's going to happen this summer. I know it's going to be insane and just be so beautiful, and God's going to be glorified. So, man, we're proud of you. Keep going.
So good to be here, you guys.
All right, so we're having a conversation here about purpose and about how God has made us with specific, I would say, DNA that he created us to do. When I was a kid, I really felt like I just knew from the time I was little that I was on earth to tell people about Jesus. I can't explain it, but I feel like when I was younger, there was more clarity at an earlier age, even my teenage years and my college years, when so many of my friends were changing degrees and changing passions. I just have felt like there's a clarity that I've had. But I know for a lot of people, it can be confusing. Like, why am I here? What am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go? God's word speaks to this. Miracle, do you have a Bible we could pull from? Yeah. We just kind of... There's a Miracle.
That is the dictionary equivalent.
Miracle is that spiritual friend that brings this Bible with him everywhere he goes. So we're going to be reading from the book of 2 Kings, 2 Chronicles. Still in 2 Chronicles. Psalms.
How about Psalms 20?
Psalms 20. As a Miracle finds this passage in this Bible, this is actually family Bible from my great-grandparents' church in rural North Dakota. What do you guys think about purpose when you're thinking about it? Confusion that people have, questions you have. I wonder, Dominique, like you do a lot of social media stuff. What do you find people asking or talking about as it relates to just why are we here?
Yeah, I would say a lot of people are trying to find their purpose and almost their identity as well in the things that they do and the accolades that they receive rather than who God says that they are. And that is something that I struggled with for a while when I was doing social media, because I was putting my identity and finding my purpose in what people said in the comments or how many likes or views my videos were getting. But in reality, like, that's the things of this earth that will fade away when I should be storing the things that matter in heaven.
For sure. I mean, I think it's easy for all of us to get caught up in it. Like even for me, like, even though I wanted and knew I was here to tell people about Jesus, like I think if you grew up a church kid, your identity becomes the church kid. I'm supposed to say the right thing. I'm supposed to do the right thing. I'm supposed to make everybody happy, and then that becomes twisted, right? Of like trying to understand who you are. But yeah, I just wonder, I don't know. What do you think, Aba?
Yeah, I feel like especially with the church kid, I was always like in the church, right? And then it's like, it puts pressure on you to like, okay, should I, and then like, I feel like sometimes it's hard because some people will force you to like do something in the church. You might think your purpose is outside of it, but you're like, say you lead they say you teach kids, right? And maybe you don't know if that's your purpose, but you feel like you're getting forced down to it. And you just like you were saying, you never have time to really, sometimes you feel like you don't have time to find who you are. You just feel like, I have to do this, but sometimes I think it comes as times, as time comes, we learn who we are. Yeah,
that's good. Marcella?
Yeah, I was going to piggyback off of what she said. There's a program I've been doing through Setting Captives Free, and it's a purity program, and it talks a lot about finding your purpose through your identity, kind of what she was saying. And I think the main thing, like, it's deep, and so for people who follow Christ, like, you kind of need to recognize, like, who am I in worship under Jesus? And from there, like, it begins this journey of, like, okay, wow, like, I'm forgiven, I'm washed by his blood daily, like, I'm loved, God gives me grace. And from there, like, it's sort of like this wholeness that you lead your life out of. And for me, like, that's really where it's began.
That's awesome. What do you think there, Reverend? What do you got here? What does a good book say?
Let's see. Psalms 20?
Yeah.
What verse?
I'm not sure about that one.
It's okay.
How about we say verse 7?
Let's say verse 7. Oh. The law of Jehovah.
Verse 7. Psalm 20, verse 7.
I need to be better.
You're good.
Kurt!
Keep it rolling.
Okay. Some trust in chariots, and some in horses. But we will make mention of the name of Jehovah, our God. What that tells me is this. Many people find their trust and their identity in material things, worldly things, things that are fleeting and passing away, but we will put our trust in Jehovah, the Lord, who was and is to come, the Lord who is eternal. Amen?
Amen. Come on! Man! Just the preacher.
Fine line of like taking you serious.
You just can't tell. You can't tell. I know he's serious.
He's gonna think I'm laughing at the gospel. I'm not.
But I do think, right, that verse and so many other passages of scripture are like, what is our purpose? Our purpose is to trust in him. Like, our purpose is to find our identity in him. And the reality is, it doesn't matter what we do, right? Whether we're a student, whether we're a son or daughter, whether we're a CEO, whatever. It's like, it's really easy to find your identity in everything but God. And it's like, until you know who you are, that he loves you, that he's for you, then we're never going to fulfill whatever assignment he has for us on this earth. So that's why it's like, step one is, do you know why you're here? Like, to know God, to love God. And then there might be something specific of like, you know what, I really love people. I'm supposed to teach or care. But sometimes I think it gets so much pressure of like, oh, you have to know exactly what you're supposed to do. And for most of us, we just don't know. We're just like trying our best. And I think that's where it's like, man, your purpose is to know him. And then from there, it's like, man, just be faithful, serving where you can, and he'll make it clear, right? So it says, like, seek first his kingdom, and all these things will be added unto you. If we're putting him first, like, if our purpose is to know him, he's going to give us purpose in our days, right? We're going to say, man, I'm not living a wasted life, but I'm living for you, Jesus. And I think that's really where it comes down to.
That even makes me think, too. There's a Simon Sinek book that talks about starting with why. And once you know why you're doing what you're doing, then the what and the how will come. As long as you have this really clear and set purpose, then everything else to do to accomplish that purpose will come. And even too, piggybacking off of what Marcella had said, when it comes to identity, we see here in the Bible that Jesus Christ, right? Jesus Christ, when he was baptized by John the Baptist, he was told, "This is my son in whom I'm well pleased." First and foremost, this is my son. Identity. Before he even did anything, before he worked any miracles, before he did all the healings, his identity was found in the Lord. So we need to find ourselves finding our identity in the Lord before we start going out there and doing great things, and not trying to find our identity in the works of our hands.
That's good.
I think it's helpful to realize too, like, along with the social media thing, there's just too many options. And when you come to God, it's like there's fewer options. Like, he gives you a very clear set of directions, of commands and principles. And I think that will help with that next step of like how to practically fit your purpose into your life.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yep, he's not trying to confuse us or trick us. I think that's from, like, God's not playing hide and go seek. He's not like trying to confuse you, right? He's just like, seek me. And if you seek me, like I always think of the pastor, it says, I will be found by you. Like, if you seek me, you will find me. And I just think that's at the heart of so much of this conversation of purpose. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I remember it was 2019, like, the Lord called me to be an evangelist while I was taking a nap on a Saturday. Like, I come back from work from Starbucks, and my friend was like, yo, let's play video games. And I was like, yeah, but let me take a nap first. So I took a nap, and, like, he gave me this dream, and I remembered it so vividly. And I woke up, and I had my eyes closed because I was trying to remember the dream. And all of a sudden I hear this whisper, audible whisper in my room that said, you're going to be an evangelist. And, like, I remember I whipped over the covers, and I was like, who the heck is in my room, But, like, nobody was in there. And, like, I realized, I was like, I think the Lord just called me to be an evangelist. And, like, I didn't jump into evangelism right away. Like, instead, it was more the opposite. The Lord broke me down pretty much. And he's like, before you step into this, you need to know who I am. You need to know who you are in me. And it sucked, to say the least. But, like, I think, like, even still to this day, like, I'm still, like, learning who God is and what he has done for me and who I am in him. Like, I think he wants me to learn that before I even step out into this, like, next phase of life, I guess.
Yeah. What do you think, David?
Yeah, like, even Genesis, when God made man in his image, he wanted a being that matches him and to be filled with him. But, so his whole goal is, like, for the church to be mature and united, because God's one. We're supposed to be one. And as long as the only way we can do that is to, like, know God, express God, and be completely like him in order for us to match him in every way.
So good. Well, I think that's why Jesus is so crucial to this conversation, because you can think of how confusing it is now. Imagine how confusing it was to follow God before we had Jesus, right? They're like trying to please God. You got these 10 commandments. You're always trying to be good enough, trying to be religious enough, trying to pray enough. But, like, when Jesus came, it, like, here's the real example of what I want you to live like, right? How I want you to love people, how I want you to serve people. And now this isn't about you trying harder. This is about surrendering and trusting in what Jesus has already done for you, right? So, like, my identity isn't found in being good enough. My identity is found in that he's good enough, right? And that he loved me enough, that he paid that price. But man, it is a journey. Thanks so much for joining us for another episode of Conversations. We had a good time, right?
Yeah.
Man, and Katie, wasn't she fire? Man, she is an artist. I love the conversation about purpose. Want to encourage you, hit the comments below. Let us know questions you have, prayer requests, or topics you want us to cover. And make sure you join us for Together 22 at the Cotton Bowl. It's going to be insane. You guys are going to be there? Man, road trip. Listen, plan your trip. Hop online, pulse.org. We'll see you next time.